Welcome back to Unit 5. So, Unit 5, the first one, we are looking at culture of consumers and how it influences their purchasing behavior. Culture of consumers and how it influences their behavior. So, by the end of this session, we should be able to explain the meaning of culture, identify the basic characteristics of culture, describe the three broad forms of cultural variations, and discuss the major issues involved in cultural variation in non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication. So, McCarthy, McCarthy, and Perut, 1993, state culture as the whole set of beliefs, attitude, and ways of doing things of a reasonable homogeneous set of people. Somebody may also explain that or may define culture as the way of life of a group of people within a particular setting. So culture basically talks about how people do the way they do or how people want people to see them. So that is basically culture. The way people do things or the beliefs, the attitude, and the do's and the norms and everything that actually portray a particular group of people. That's culture. So if you come to Ghana, there are different types of cultural backgrounds. So Ghana as a country, we have our homogeneous culture, which means that if somebody comes to Ghana, the person will be able to depict some commonalities among the people of Ghana. And the same vein, if you go to the United States of America, you will see that their culture is different. And even within that particular bigger umbrella, there are subcultures. People have their own way of doing their own thing within the same country. So culture refers to how people reflect or how people portray themselves in terms of the kind of beliefs that they have and in their attitude. All right. So we are talking about we are moving to the characteristics of culture, and this type of characteristics were coming from a particular internet source over there, so you can actually, I mean, check in there and then read more on that. So they identify the following characteristics of culture. So they are saying that culture is comprehensive. Culture is comprehensive. Every culture that the consumers portray is a comprehensive culture. And that is why you realize that at the time somebody will say that I have changed my background, or maybe I don't like the way I do my thing, or I don't like the way our people do their things. Culture is acquired and sometimes transmitted from generation to generation. So we acquire culture. Nobody was born with culture. You were born, and when you were born, you came to meet a particular culture and you acquired it through transmission. Culture is manifested within boundaries of acceptable behavior. Yes. So you can see culture within a particular boundaries of behavior. Conscious awareness of cultural standard is limited. Yes. Then culture is not static. Culture is dynamic. There is no way you can say that you can add on. If you think that there are certain belief systems within your cultural setting and you want to change it, you have the right to. Freedom of association, freedom of movement, everything. So culture also is what static. It's not static. Then we are looking at the foundation of culture. Culture operates primarily by setting rather loose boundaries for individuals' behavior and by influencing the function of institutions such as the family. So culture influences institutions, for example, family. So now we want to look at the differences that exist within the culture, within cultural values. So cultural values are widely held beliefs that affirm that affirm what is desirable. So the cultural values are basically the beliefs that actually affirm or attest to the fact that a particular behavior is more desirable. And these values affect behavior through norms which specify an acceptable range of responses to specific situations. So Hawkins et al. 2007 presents a classification scheme consisting of three broad forms of cultural values. So he is saying that we have what we call the other oriented value or values, the environment oriented, and the self oriented. Okay, now let's look at the various forms by Hawkins. Now, when we talk about the other oriented values, Hawkins was saying that other oriented values reflect a society's view of the relationship between individuals and groups within that society. So these are the kind of values that people actually, the society makes it clear. So the other oriented values, so these are values that exist between individuals and groups within a society. So if you visit a particular community, a particular region, or a particular setting, you realize that there's some form of relationship that exists between the individuals and the groups that are also there. And this relationship have a major influence on marketing practice. For example, if the society values collective activity, if the society values collective activity in a sense that the society believes that things can be done and then things will be appropriate when we put our heads together. That is the values of that particular society. Consumers will look towards others for guidance in purchase decision and will not respond favorably by promotional appeal. So that is it. So the value of the order oriented values means that um, when we have a particular decision to make, and we are going by these particular values, what it means is that what people say actually makes a contribution to our decision. So the other oriented value is saying that if people see that there's a relationship between individuals and groups, and therefore when we want to make a decision as to what to buy and what not to buy, there's the need for us to consider the views of others because they value, they see society to value what collective activity, and therefore if I want to do something, what if, or what would people around me talk about it or say about it? Okay, then we have the environment oriented values. So environment oriented values describe a society's relationship to its economic and technical as well as its physical environment. So they see their influences, or they see their outcome of their decision as affecting the economy and as well as the physical environment. And therefore, you need to be able to consider how what the decision I'm going to take, how is it going to affect the economy or how is it going to affect the physical environment. And that is why there are certain organizations that when they are in a particular community, they want to do something to benefit the community because they think that one way or the other they are causing harm. They are causing harm. So here they are looking at the effect they are causing to the economy. Then you have the self-oriented values. So self-oriented values reflect the objectives and approach to life that the individual members of the society find desirable. So here it's what the individual thinks is desirable. So for instance, the acceptance and the use of credit is very much determined by society's position on the value of postponed versus immediate gratification. So basically, this is what we should. So we can probably look at a lot of influences that culture has on consumer behavior. So you can actually explore about the cultural influences on consumer behavior. Thank you very much.